Hey, so today I kind of wanted to share some clips and observations from my second month of climbing. Uh, Mediocre white man tries a new sport. I've made it 2 months now, kind of learning, climbing, starting to train a bit, having a lot of fun with it. And I also participated in my first ever bouldering competition. And I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the video. But for now, let's get into it. So we'll start with this climb that I actually really liked, challenged me in a bunch of different ways. I had to start with that slightly dynamic movement to grab the large hold, and all of these holds that I'm climbing here, I'd never really had the experience to try before. I really didn't expect to send this one. At the end of a session, I just kind of threw myself at it, and once I got that first move down, I was able to complete the rest of the climb no issue. This one, I found this one pretty easy. This part of the clip is a bit sped up though, because right here at the beginning I barn door and just kind of fall off. It's a problem that I've yet to quite figure out when I boulder. Happens to me quite often, but I think I'm starting to figure out, how to kind of hold on when it happens and how to prevent it when I'm climbing. At least in theory, maybe not in practice. This is another climb that honestly looks pretty easy. I don't think I found it too difficult, but I did have some difficulty sticking onto these holds. This is a clip from an attempt I actually didn't send. I'm sure that somewhere on my phone I do have a clip of me sending this, but at the very end of the session, I just kind of don't grip here. Not quite in position to grab it, and I fall off. Alright, so this climb is another one that challenged me. I felt like I learned a lot of new things when I was working through this one. Something I am kind of seeing now in my climbing is that first move looks kind of difficult, but I think if I dropped my hip in, I could have had a better reach. Another bit of baby's first dynamic move there. I think it probably would have been a little bit easier if I was a bit taller, but otherwise kind of had to lunge for it and made it work. So another fun one, didn't think I was gonna get. This here is sped up because it's agonizingly long, but this is the hardest climb I've completed up until this point. It's another slab problem, and the biggest challenge that I've faced in this climb is the walkout at the very end here, and I will not tell you how long I struggled to finally get this part of the problem down. Even looking back at it, I don't look confident. When I was doing it, I didn't feel confident. I really barely was able to grab that hold and maintain a secure position for 3-ish seconds. But you'll notice as soon as I get off it, I'm already panicking and I slip off the wall. But I felt really good about getting it. Not too much to say about this problem, just a kind of laddery climb on some jugs. I flashed this attempt. This is not my first attempt. I went back to film my second attempt afterwards just so I had some footage of it. I think it went about as smoothly on my first climb though. Really not much to say about this one. I think looking back, some of my form and choices here are a bit questionable, but that's to be expected. At about this part in the video, I also learned to start down climbing instead of just falling off the peak of every single boulder. This day is actually the day that I began training for well, I won't say began training, but this was one of my last training sessions before the Bouldering Provincials that I entered this year. And let me tell you, I learned a lot from that experience. Particularly, I think I learned that I kind of threw myself too hard at the idea of competing so early into learning this sport. I ended up overtraining a bit and really just kind of brutalizing my arms. And I came away really satisfied that I did compete, but also a little bit disappointed with how I competed and how I kind of let the process frustrate me a little bit. Something I think I'll learn from for next time if I decide I want to try and compete maybe next year. Again, this is all from the same session, and I can really tell looking back at this how tired I am while I'm climbing. Some of my decision making is weak. I definitely think my form in some of these climbs, on that last climb, I'm like holding myself up super rigidly. I'm never really like relaxing my arms at any point. I do think this is probably some of the worst form I'll see myself climb with, and it is pretty sad. Not sad, but it's like, it makes a lot of sense watching back why I was so beat up going into provincials, the way I'm climbing, the amount of times I was climbing leading up to the competition, didn't really get proper rest. Definitely felt like if I took the maximalist approach, that maybe I would learn enough to, do a little better than I expected. But obviously, wishful thinking. My overall competition results: last place in my division, which I expected. At no point did I ever think I was going to, place or anything like that. I had no expectations in that regard. But there were a few climbs during the competition that I think a fresher version of me might have had a chance at completing. But with how beat up I had been coming in and how just kind of generally sore I was feeling on the day of the competition, I had no shot. And unfortunately, I performed under my own expectations. Yeah, so that about sums up my first 2 months of climbing. Uh, I did enter the competition. I mentioned that a couple times throughout. And suffice to say, I did place last in my division, but just for the experience of competing, I had a lot of fun. It was a completely different dynamic than I'm used to, just from kind of bouldering by myself or with friends. And so it was a valuable experience. And while I'm definitely not ready to compete in any capacity at this point, it's still something I think I'd consider trying again, maybe next year. So we'll see. Anyways, thanks for watching.